reach a deal and prevent default. Joining us right now this morning, we've got Democratic Congressman Peter Welch, screen left appropriately enough, and Republican Congressman Jack Kingston. He is on the right. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Congressman Kingston, why did you vote no?
We cannot just continue increasing the debt ceiling year after year. We'll just be right back in the same boat that we're in. Right now, the national debt is 97% of the GDP. For every dollar we spend, 40 cents is borrowed. We have to change the entitlement structure. We have to bring in some of the sacred cows and change it for not just the next generation, but not for the next election, but for the next generation. Otherwise, we are going to just become a huge debtor nation with China and Britain restructuring our debt.
Congressman Welch, not a single Republican voted for it. Half the Democrats voted against it as well, but you voted for it. Why?
Well, first of all, Jack's got a point. We do have to have a long-term fiscal plan to get us back to balance. But the reason I voted for it is really quite simple. America pays its bills. And whether those bills were incurred by a Congress that I was part of or not, whether it was to pay for a war that I oppose, like the Iraq War, or not, we have to pay our bills. And if we default on our debt for the first time in the history of our great country, that will do enormous damage to this economy, raise interest rates, and raise unemployment. So we have to pay our bills. It's that straightforward.
All right. Dave Camp, who is the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee there in the House, wants to see action from the president. Listen to this, guys.
I'd like to hear him outline how he expects to get there, and that he now is signaling in an important way that we need to be serious about our debt and deficit. We need to have spending cuts, and to the extent that he can outline those, that'll be very helpful.
Well, Congressman Kingston, you're going to hear firsthand from the president today. All the Republicans are going to his place, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. What do you expect to hear from him?
Well, I hope he remembers his own words when he was a U.S. Senator in 2006 and voted against increasing the debt ceiling, when he said, I'm doing this because there's a lack of leadership. So I hope that he will remember that and show some leadership and say, we've got to change our spending here. We're spending 23% of the GDP, and revenues are about 18 to 19% of GDP. It's unsustainable. We got to bring that under control. So I'm hoping the president says, look, you guys gave me a 2-month warning. We have till August. Thanks for getting that voted out of the way. I got the message. Signal has been sent.
All right, Congressman Welch, we'll give you the final word.
Well, you know, my view is this. Negotiate. If our leadership can get to an agreement on a long-term deficit deal, great. But don't default. And it's typical in politics to try to use whatever leverage you can get. But what we're doing now is playing Russian roulette with a loaded gun in the American economy. We'll be on the receiving end of that pistol shot.
All right, guys, we thank you both for joining us live, Congressman Welch and Kingston from our D.C. Bureau. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, what do you think? Email us, friends@foxnews.com. Meanwhile, next on the rundown, a judge just ruled prayer from a high school down in Texas graduation must be removed because agnostics